Welcome to Grow My Etsy Shop podcast, the drips of knowledge you need to start growing. What's up? So it's been a while since I've recorded a podcast. I recorded those 4 in advance. Now I'm literally the day before a podcast, just like the good old days. So this week I was going through someone's ad account and noticed, whoa, things don't look the same like they used to. So I said to him, do you mind if I take a second to kind of go through this? And so I went through their ad account, just kind of setting it up, looking at it, seeing which changes were there. And I'm going to share with you some of the techniques and thoughts I have about this new setup, and whether I give it a thumbs up, thumbs down, what you can do to take advantage of kind of this new setup and some of the other changes that Etsy has going for us. So let's talk about it. Okay, so the first, obviously, major change that we're seeing is with the ad account itself. When I was going through the ad account, I saw that it had the word campaign in it, which I believed when I saw it, like my heart stopped, because I was like, oh my gosh, are we going to be allowed to have multiple campaigns? It is, if there was one owl that I could send to, that's a Harry Potter reference, that I could send to Etsy, it would be, give me multiple campaigns in the ad account. Please, please, please. Meaning I could put my new stuff in one campaign and be like, hey, here's $5, promote my new stuff. And the stuff I know is really selling well and has the highest ROI, here's $50. And then my new niche that I'm trying out, here's $10. Instead, we are still, like it's 1998, stuck with one campaign that all of our money has to go towards. And I'm hoping that this segregation that's taking place of labeling it a campaign is opening the ability to have new campaigns, because then we're moving more into how these other marketing platforms work, and ooh mama, it would be really, really great. So a man can dream, but unfortunately that is not the case. So if you click on campaign, you're going to notice that instead of Etsy just being like, what's your budget, they're instead going to be like, what you want. And they used to ask those like 5 vague questions, which were like, do you want more orders? Do you want to just spend money? Do you want, and you were like, I think I want orders. And it was like, great, thanks. And it was straight up feedback. There was nothing about it that affected the ad account whatsoever. Now you're given 3 choices that will affect how the ad account spends. So choice number 1 is they say, hey, do you want to have an increase in orders? Like an aggressive campaign where we don't give 2 flying rat's A's about the ROI. We will just spend your money and get you in front of as many people as we can in the process of it. The option number 2 is, do you want us to balance it? Do you want us to kind of get as many orders as we can, but be somewhat conscious of your ROI, or your return on investment, or ROAS, the return on ad spend? That's what ROAS stands for. Option number 3 is, do you want to just have the highest ROAS possible? So we're not focusing on spend, we're focusing on ROAS. So, $1 million question, Jared, which one should I choose? The answer is, the middle one. 70% of the time. The middle one is going to be your best bet. I'm going to give you the 3 situations of when you would use each one. Okay, so the first one, where they're like, hey, we will spend your budget without caring about ROI, is exactly how Facebook and Instagram run ads. We have no problem spending your money. If you handed Facebook $10,000 and said, spend this money, it will find a way to spend $10,000. And if you got no sales from it, they don't care. Etsy's essentially saying, look, if you want visibility, if you want to just win the auction, if you want to be in front of other people, we'll do it. But we're not promising results here, because we're going to stretch your keywords out. We're going to be hitting keywords that you might not typically hit, and that's how we're going to spend your money. But if you feel confident, if you feel ready, go for it. So with that one, the one that they're like, hey, we're willing to spend, we're going to swing for the fence. That one works well only when, now this is an untested theory, but because I'm a paid marketer, I happen to have some insight information on this. If your product is seasonal, so you're like, dude, I just want to capitalize on the fact that this is a really competitive market, is another way to do it. This is really competitive. There's a gajillion people all bidding for this. So at this stage, I just want to be found and seen, and I'm willing to pay whatever it takes to get there, is sort of the mindset you would have. So if it's a seasonal product, you know, like, oh, I sell dorm apartment decor and everyone's starting school now. Let me rush this thing in, see if I can get as many orders as I can from this thing. And keep in mind, this isn't a set it and forget it strategy. This is if you are going to be in the ad account looking. This is actually a great use if you are and there's some people who do this. Does Jared recommend it? No. But there are people who do this, which is the time of day stuff. So they might say, oh, I know that most of my buyers are in the evening, for example. So they, at 5 o'clock, put all your budget in for the day, turn that bad boy on at spend, don't care about the ROAS, and just get as many eyeballs as you can. So if you have a product that when they get in front of your buyer, it just works and sells, and this could work for you. But you're going to definitely want to use past data to make that decision. So you've ran ads before, it has crazy good ROAS, your organic sales go off the roof, then it's great, let's just, Etsy, take a seat. I'm going to take the reins on this one, and then pedal to the metal, baby. So if your product is super competitive, if it's seasonal, or if it's hot, it's a trend that you're trying to get in front of, and you just know, man, this thing is printed money, that's when you would want to use something like that. If you go to the next one, which is balance your orders and ROAS, that is exactly what you've been doing on Etsy since, I don't know, maybe 2021, when they kind of started to do it more that way. Meaning, look, we're not out here to spend your money. We are going to try to get you the best results. But what this does is it gives Etsy the power to be able to not spend your budget. So I know a lot of you might be saying, gosh, I've put $50 on. It only spends $20, and I can't get it to spend more. Well, a lot of it is because Etsy's trying to create a good ROAS while spending money at the same time. And it finds that at $20, it can give you a pretty good ROAS, but when it gets to 40 or something like that, it doesn't feel as confident, and so it hangs out in that area. And I have lots of content on how to scale and grow that. Unfortunately, that's not going to be in this episode, but for the most part, I would say 75% of the time, let me say this, 75% of sellers should be using, no, that's not true. I would say 85% of sellers should be using that one right there. Balance your orders with return. And then just to give you a quick version of this, if it's only spending $20 and you're like, oh my gosh, I want more than $20, I feel like I have a lot to cover and I probably shouldn't go down this rabbit hole. I'll say it quick. You essentially want to match what it's currently spending. So let's say your budget is 50, it's spending 20, then bring your budget down to 20. Let it get comfortable spending 20 and then slowly scale it up. Okay, that's the fast version of that answer. The last one, increase your return. It should be 5% of you. Increase your return, don't spend my money. Give me the best return possible. Do you know why? Though it sounds like the best on paper, it's essentially saying, look, I want to spend the least amount of money and get the highest return possible. It's going to spend $4 in a week. And so it's going to be like, hey, we got you a sale, $17, and we only spent $4 for it. Aren't we great? And you're like, yeah, but you can't really grow a business off of $4 a month or a week ad spend. You know what I mean? And so this, I feel like the only time I would really ever use this is if you're terrified of spending money, then throw it on, because Etsy's pretty much guaranteeing you that you're going to make a profit off what you give them. But again, you're going to spend $4 and they're going to give you 15. Gosh, it slipped my mind. It's going to come to me. Oh, another great way if you were a shop that, let's say you're super niched. And so you're just like, dude, I just don't get a lot of search traffic for my niche. Not a lot of people are getting on Etsy and typing in a banana hammock. I don't know why that one popped in my head, but there you go. And so, yeah, I'm looking at it. I'm literally already on the front page of these keywords. There's just not a lot of traffic for these things. Then maybe, yeah, you just do that one, because it might branch you out a little bit in keywords that you're not typically in. Give you good ROAS, you're getting a little extra reach, it's all good. So that's when I would use that. So that's the ad account itself. Outside of that, did anything else change? Yes, if you click on detailed stats, you used to be able to see the category of views right there, and you can make decisions on what keywords were getting the most views, and then if you wanted them on or off. Now you have to click on views. So you click on views, so it organizes most views to least, and you want to look at what keywords are bringing in the most views so that you can make a decision if that listing is doing what it's supposed to be doing. Okay, let's go on to the next stuff. All right, so the next one is the blah 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 Hotel Transylvania. All right, we're going. Buckle up, boys. The next one is Star Seller, or the front of your Etsy store. So when you log in, look at the front of your Etsy store, you're going to notice a couple things are missing. Star Seller, that one used to be very advertised, not so much anymore. The announcement bar looks like it's moved down to the bottom. And then I'm not seeing as photos. And maybe this is just me. You guys know how Etsy works. They do updates, and then they give them to some people, and they test things. They're always testing things all the time. And so, but this one, I went through Reddit. I did my homework here, guys, to see what people were seeing and what changes and what they liked and what they didn't like. And so this was one that was brought up. I happen to have this as well. So all these things, everything that's been said so far, I have seen first person. Okay, Star Seller, which good riddance, because that thing's just, I have no respect for the Star Seller program. The announcement bar, interesting choice, Etsy. Feels like, I think what a lot of people, this would be my guess. I think a lot of people think that a lot of people read the announcement bar. So they're like, oh, I'm going to be out of town for 3 weeks. I'll just put it in my announcement bar. And it's like, no. It is a small percentage of your buyers that are getting in there and seeing your announcement bar. And so I think that's Etsy's way of saying, like, look, this isn't something that you can make some major announcements on and it's going to make a difference. Like this, we're just going to kind of put this on the bottom, which is true. But it is really nice to have. And like, as a shopper, I've read announcement bars before. So I think it's weird, but I wish they would have just kind of put more of a disclaimer that was like, hey, by the way, you can't just go out of town for 3 weeks and put in your announcement bar. And then the no photo on shop, I think that's a weird one too. And so I don't know if you guys are seeing that one where they're just removing the profile picture from I just feel like it's Etsy's way of not making it personal. So I don't love that one. Okay, another thing that I think is a good change that Etsy's made is that when you have variations in colors, you can see it through the listing now. So when you're going through the listing, instead of being like, I have more colors available, you'll see pink, red, blue, little circles underneath it that show this has variety. You can choose different colors in this, and I think that's really great. I'm all about that change. Okay, one that I really like is, and maybe you guys have seen this, take note of this, maybe you haven't, you're going to look at it today, but for the most part, I've seen this in just about every Etsy shop that I've been going through. So I think this change is a big one, and it might be a permanent one, which is when you click on a listing, if you scroll down from that listing, you guys picture this in your mind. You're like, okay, I got a listing in front of me. When I scroll down, what's the next thing that I see? The reviews. Good. Then if you scroll down, what was the next thing you typically saw? And this is where we would normally start to get like, oh, here's other things from the shop that would kind of show, and then here's your competitors. And they were really close to each other. And immediately they're like, oh, were you looking at pocket watches? Well, here's a bunch of other pocket watches. And you're like, oh. And then that's where that, when you look at your stats and it says Etsy app, and then it says and other Etsy pages, it's referring to you jumping around, or people jumping around from those clicking that area. So I type in 1870 and a bunch of 1870 stuff shows up. I end up clicking on a pocket watch. Etsy's like, oh, he likes pocket watches, shows me more stores that have pocket watches. I click on that pocket watch, and now that counts as a stat for that store. From where? Etsy app and other Etsy pages. That's how that would work. So I've had beef with that, and I think most sellers would have beef with that. It's like, I get it from a consumer standpoint. It makes sense. But I feel like there should just be one more push to your shop before your competitors are introduced. I feel like there should be like, hey, because for example, I might sell several pocket watches. So I've taught my people I've worked with before, and like, I don't want to say my students, but like people who've signed up and whatnot, about using their listing pictures to promote their stuff. So that way you're creating the shopping experience within the listing itself, instead of having people use Etsy to shop on. Well, now, if you click on product, scroll through, look at all your amazing reviews, the very next thing is a blurb about your shop. It will show your logo, it will show your store name, it will show 4 products from your shop, and invite them to come into your shop to shop. And it's a big real estate. That's what I like about it. It's not just that like bar. It's like double bar. And so this means it's a generous real estate for Etsy to give at that stage. They're very particular on what happens. You know, we saw our item descriptions pretty much get shriveled up into the corner. And so to give us 2 bars of space that kind of present it nicely, it breaks the eye a bit up, it's attention grabbing, puts focus on your logo, puts focus on your shop name, puts focus on some of your featured items. I love it. It's a 10 out of 10 for me. Love, love, love. So what I think from your guys' standpoint, is there anything you need to do or change or anything like that? No. But you just get to reap the benefits of inviting people into your shop and seeing things. So I just make sure you're featured. I think that's probably your best one, that your featured products are things that you feel like show who you are as a shop owner, the diversity you may have, or even different variants of your best sellers. If you know that majority of your traffic is coming from certain listings, then you can show kind of what would go with those listings. You can use it as upsells, all of that kind of stuff. So play around with it. I think it's a great add to what we're doing. All right, we are cooking. So another thing is I read this on Reddit. It was not my experience, so I don't see this yet. But people were talking about Etsy testing sprinkling ads into the feed, which Jared's a big believer of. I think that's how it should always be done, because Google learned this, right? Google used to do salmon ads, is what they were called. They kind of had a pink hue to them so that you knew they were an ad. And people got trained really quick to recognize this isn't my best option. These are just the people paying to be in front of me. And so they would immediately scroll past the salmon ads. If you said to anybody, you know, did you click on that? They're like, no, I don't click on salmon ads. I don't click on, like, I know that's not it. So I know I'm at a point, but I'm also on Etsy all the time, but I know I'm at a point where I very quickly know where the ads are. And I don't have as much merit to the ad because my brain kind of says, look, if they're paying for advertising, they're making big profits off me. So, which is a terrible way of thinking. So I want to see what organically Etsy's presenting. I want to see some of these other guys, you know. If you sprinkle it, that and that makes it harder to identify that it's an ad, which is like, you guys are on social media, you know, someone shows up and they're like, oh my gosh, my teeth have never been this white before. And you're like, what? Tell me how. And then they're like, that little shop now button pops up and you're like, oh, hey, no. Poop. And you swap out. Like, you're just like, this is a fake review. Someone's just trying to sell me some freaking toothpaste. This isn't someone sharing their organic experience about their teeth getting whiter. We don't want to train our Etsy sellers to feel that way. When they see the ads, they're like, no, yeah, these are just the guys that are throwing money at it. And no thanks. I want it, you know. So if you sprinkle it, then the idea is it would be less likely to recognize that it's an ad, and I think it would help conversion. So apparently they've been testing this. Again, I don't have this on my end, but I would be a big believer of that. I do think it would raise the ROI of ads if they sprinkled them as opposed to wrote them out the way they do now. And I think they should continue to have the shop name, not just say ads, but have an ad presented or ad by this shop. I think that would be great, because if A, we're paying for it, so I'd like to have my shop name there, and B, I just think it would overall help it look more organic. Okay, last one is, and this one I do have on my Etsy, is that we're seeing a shift in picture size, moving into more of a portrait size. Before you go out and change all your photos, these typically don't stay. These are the ones I see happen a lot. These are the things I see. They end up kind of going back to what they're doing. So for the most part, it's kind of those elongated mobile pictures and squares and things like that. I haven't seen enough change in Etsy shops to believe that this one's going to stick, but I would, at least for a little bit, make sure that your pictures aren't being chopped off or anything like that if you do have text or something like that. So something to look out for. Okay, guys, I'm happy to be back. Looking forward to sharing my wisdom. The big news, well, not big news, but I've been working in the lab late one night, but multiple nights, on some new stuff I have that I'm excited about. You guys know I have a growth program that I actually have not really been doing this year, not because there haven't been people signing up. There have been. Sorry if you've signed up and you're like, Jared, well, I'm not hearing anything from you. Yeah, that's my bad. I've just been working in the background on some stuff, and I'm getting close to being able to launch what this is. And the idea is that it's going to make it much more, my reach a lot farther, and allow people to enter in kind of the world of kind of insider information and all that kind of stuff without having to, do a full-blown growth program, month-long thing. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, stay tuned. Okay, guys, till next week.